Welcome back to Behind Your Basketball. The 2021-2022 college basketball season is just around the corner. The official college basketball season will tip off on Tuesday, November 9, 2021. This past offseason, there was so much movement with a countless number of players who transferred in the offseason. Also players that got granted an extra season of eligibility, along with players departing for the NBA draft, along with new recruits making to look an impact on the court with their respective programs. With these offseason movements, it's so tough to predict what's going to happen this upcoming season with all these changes. But anyways, I'm going to give it a try right here in this video. In this video, I'm going to reveal my college basketball preseason predictions for teams number 45 through 26 on this list. This is the first video of a two-part video. Be sure to check out the second part of this video, my preseason top 25 with teams number 25 through 1. That video link is posted in the description below this video. But also, make sure to check out my play-by-play live streams throughout the season. Me commentating basketball games. I would highly recommend you to do so. But without any further ado, let's get to my top 25 preseason predictions for the 2021-2022 college basketball season. From 45 to 26, we start off at number 45, and this is the Colorado State Rams. Colorado State looking to contend at the top of the Mountain West this season along with San Diego State. The Rams just missed the bracket in 2021, but this season Colorado State should be able to have enough to make it to the big dance in 2022. The Rams returned everyone from last season's roster. The top two players are a pair of junior guards that averaged around 15 points per game last season, with David Roddy, who nearly averaged a double-double, and Isaiah Stevens, who averaged over 5 assists per game. Colorado State happens to be undersized, but how they're able to beat teams is through their perimeter shooting and also at the free throw line, which they ranked 6th last season in free throw shooting percentage. Now at number 44, we'll keep it with another mid-major, a Cinderella in the 2018 NCAA tournament in the Final Four. This is the Ramblers of Loyola Chicago. They also knocked off top-seeded Illinois last season in the round of 32. The Ramblers didn't really have much roster changes for this upcoming season. They do have a new head coach, though. Porter Moser is now the new head coach of Oklahoma, which left the Ramblers with an upgrade from the assistant position to new head coach with Drew Valentine now. As for the roster, Cameron Krutwig, the only big name that departs this offseason for Loyola Chicago, as the Ramblers have 7 seniors on the roster. They'll return their number 2 through 7 scorers on the squad that ranked 1st nationally last season in total defense. They are, however, undersized in the front court. That is due to Krutwig's departure. But to battle Loyola Chicago in the conference, I do expect Drake, which returns 8 seniors on the roster. They could challenge the Ramblers in the Missouri Valley Conference and once again make it a too-big league. But I do like Loyola Chicago at number 44. Now at number 43. This head coach in the hot seat, making a break it season at Notre Dame. In South Bend for head coach Mike Brey, entering his 22nd season as head coach. Brey is coming off his worst season last season, as Notre Dame has missed the NCAA tournament for the past 4 straight seasons. This season, though, the Fighting Irish will have 6 seniors on the roster. Notre Dame retains 4 of 5 starters back in the lineup with senior guards Prentice Hub, Dane Goodwin, and Cormac Ryan. Also, senior 4 Nate Laszewski is back. The Fighting Irish will add in a key player with a transfer from Yale, Paul Atkinson, 6'10" forward who averaged over 17 points per game and over 7 rebounds per game back in 2019-2020. Make it or break it season here for head coach Mike Brey at Notre Dame, as they got 6 seniors on the roster for the Fighting Irish. Anything short of an NCAA tournament appearance this season will be a major disappointment. Now at number 42, we'll go back to the mid-major on this list. Roster retention, big key in the offseason. A sleeper here, a bracket buster potentially in the NCAA tournament comes up with this team right here. The number 42 on the list is the Belmont Bruins. And they show why in the offseason retention is key. A team that went 26-4 and missed the NCAA tournament last year. The scariest part for mid-majors is the last game in the conference tournament. If you're a mid-major and you have 25-plus wins, yet you haven't really played quality competition throughout the season, you need to win the conference tournament to get the automatic qualifier to the NCAA tournament. And Belmont They've had the last 2 straight seasons with 26 victories under head coach Casey Alexander, but last season they happened to lose to Morehead State in the OVC title game, and even though with 26 victories, they weren't able to get into the tournament. The Bruins last season had 5 players who averaged over 10 points per game on the number 13 ranked scoring attack last season, and Belmont, they're going to have a prime opportunity. That happens on November 22nd. A road game at Baton Rouge versus LSU. This is a big opportunity for Belmont to build their resume towards March if they do get a victory right there against a power conference SEC opponent with LSU. I've got Belmont at number 42. Now at number 41, another head coach on the hot seat entering his 7th season as head coach in Gainesville, Mike White and the Florida Gators. On the list right here, White has 10 or more losses during his last 4 seasons. There's no question the talent has always been there in the roster for Florida. Now, the main loss in the offseason was star point guard Trey Mann. He went to the NBA. And also departing in the offseason, guard Noah Locke, who transferred to Louisville, Scotty Lewis, who went to the NBA draft. Florida will return to 3 key seniors. Tyree Appleby most likely will take over the point guard duties in place of Mann's departure. In the front court, Colin Castleton returns for his senior season. He had 2 double-doubles in the NCAA tournament. He should have a big season upcoming for Florida. Also, Anthony DeRuggi will be back as well. Helping out in the backcourt will be a key transfer with senior guard Myron Jones from Penn State, who averaged over 15 points per game, shot the ball at over 39% from three-point range last season. I've got the Gators at number 41. Now at number 40, on the upswing, a young team from last season, a new head coach now with Tommy Lloyd. This is the Arizona Wildcats. Sean Miller fired in the offseason. Tommy Lloyd, the assistant to Mark Few at Gonzaga, hired as the new head coach for this upcoming season at Arizona. And Lloyd will look to turn around an Arizona program that's missed the NCAA tournament for the past 3 straight seasons. In the offseason, leading scorer James Akinjo transferred to Baylor. Also, the number 2 and 3 scorers are back for Arizona. Sophomore forward Azulis Tubelis, he is back, along with another sophomore guard with Ben Maturin. Both of these players averaged double figures in scoring last season. They got a young team full of sophomores. Guard Pell Larson, who averaged over 8 points per game as a freshman, shot over 46% from three-point range last season at Utah. He is a great transfer addition here to Arizona. Also, the Wildcats have some other key players, but their key players consist basically of 5 sophomores. If Tommy Lloyd's able to keep on retaining these players in the future, because the majority of these players are sophomores, Arizona should be able to back where they used to be as a program over 5 years ago. I've got the Wildcats inside the top 45 at number 40. We'll keep it on the west side here of the U.S. Now at number 39, inside the WCC, we have the BYU Cougars, coming off 3 straight seasons, finishing runner-up to Gonzaga in the conference. BYU will get their star player back with senior guard Alex Barcelo, who is coming back for his 5th season. Barcelo averaged over 16 points per game, over 4 assists per game, shot the ball over 47% from three-point range last season. The number 2 and 3 scorers, Brandon Averett and Matt Harms, both departed in the offseason, but the Cougars expecting a big jump in sophomore forward Caleb Lohner, who averaged over 7 points per game, 7 rebounds per game last season, the freshman. Junior guard Trevin Nell, who had glimpses of big scoring potential last season when he went off for 5 3-point shots, scoring 20 points in the WCC title game versus Gonzaga. He is back as well. BYU adds in another transfer with guard Tajon Lucas from Milwaukee, who averaged just under 15 points per game last season. And this is what the Cougars have in their non-conference slate. They have games against San Diego State. They also got a non-conference game against Oregon, also against in-state rival Utah, a game against Creighton, and then in conference play, they play against Gonzaga twice. So those are the quality matchups that they have to put the nation on notice for this upcoming season for BYU. I've got the Cougars at number 39. Now at number 38, we'll make it out even further west. Back to California for this one. Mid-major comes in at the top of the Mountain West. I predict that will be once again the Aztecs of San Diego State. Ever since his arrival back in 2017, head coach Brian Dutcher has led the Aztecs to 4 straight seasons of 20-plus win seasons, and I expect the 5th one coming up. San Diego State does lose their top 3 scorers with Jordan Shackle, Matt Mitchell, and Terrell Gomez from last season, but the Aztecs will have a terrific star player via transfer who is looking to earn an upcoming Mountain West Conference Player of the Year honor. That is senior guard Matt Bradley, who was a 3-year starter at California. He averaged 17.75 points per game during the previous 2 seasons at Cal, along with being a career 40% three-point shooter. This is a massive offseason pickup right here, and he goes from playing in the Pac-12 to playing now in the Mountain West, which he should be able to even produce even more than what he has done before. Now returning for San Diego State will be forward Nathan Mensah. He is back along with guard Trey Pulliam. And also for San Diego State, what they have here is basically this trio. They have Bradley, Mensah, and Pulliam. They're just 3 of 7 seniors on the roster for the Aztecs. San Diego State, though, what I was saying before, have got Colorado State at number 45 in the list. They could face some stiff competition here from the Rams, and also Nevada just outside this list as well, which retains most of their key players from last season. Mountain West should be extremely competitive this upcoming season. I've got the Aztecs in the top of the conference, though. I've got them at number 38 on this list. Now at number 37, we have the West Virginia Mountaineers. This team would have been a top 25 team if things had went their way in the offseason, but their top 2 players from last season, Miles McBride and Derek Culver, both left in the offseason, with McBride going to the NBA draft, Culver leaving the program after his junior season. The guards, though, and the scoring of this team, that is going to be the strength of West Virginia. Head coach Bob Huggins, he returns shooting guard Sean McNeil, also guard Taz Sherman. Both of them are back. Sherman using his extra season of eligibility as he took a massive leap from his first season with the program to his second. Huggins also acquiring 2 senior transfers in the offseason. Point guard Malik Curry, who averaged over 15 points per game at Old Dominion, and also forward Pauly Polycat from DePaul. Sophomore forward Jalen Bridges, he's expected to take a second-year leap for the program to boost up West Virginia's front court. Also, a couple of key players in the front court for this season, including more playing time. This will be Gabe Asaboyan and Isaiah Cottrell. There'll be 2 more crucial players in the front court for West Virginia. I've got them this season at number 37. Now at number 36, new head coach for the program. I've got at 36 the Indiana Hoosiers. Indiana hasn't been to the NCAA tournament since 2016. The Hoosiers have 5 straight seasons, though, with 12 or more losses. But first-year head coach Mike Woodson, he is looking to change that here for Indiana. Woodson takes over for Archie Millers. He was fired in the offseason after 4 seasons. It's all going to go through the star player for the Hoosiers. That is Trace Jackson Davis, a junior forward who's returning. One of the top players in college basketball I expect for this season. He made the All-Big Ten second team last season, averaging over 19 points per game and 9 rebounds per game. Indiana did lose their number 2 and 3 scorers in the offseason, Armand Franklin and Aljami Durham, but also, as far as that, the Hoosiers will retain their starting center, though, Race Thompson. And the Hoosiers got 3 key transfers in the offseason. Point guard Xavier Johnson, who averaged over 14 points per game and over 5 assists per game last season for Pittsburgh. And also forward Miller Kopp from Northwestern, who averaged in double figures. And then another guard, Parker Stewart from Tennessee Martin, who averaged over 19 points per game last season for UT Martin. So they have a lot of key players coming in for Indiana. Senior guard Rob Finney also back for the Hoosiers. And also Indiana adding in a top 30 freshman recruit with shooting guard Tamir Bates. I've got him here on this list at number 36. Number 35 on my list, and this is where I have the Virginia Cavaliers. They come in at the AP at number 25. I don't really see them, in my opinion, as a consistent top 25 team, and that happens to be because of all the offseason losses that Virginia has suffered. Virginia lost 7 players in the offseason, which included their top 3 scorers, Sam Hauser, Jay Huff, and Trey Murphy. The Cavaliers, most likely, I predict, are going to take a step back this upcoming season. One key player from their national championship team in 2019 is back with point guard Kihei Clark. He returns for his senior season. Sophomore guard Reese Beekman, he's looking to take the leap up for his second season. And then they got some transfers coming in. So replacing Hauser will add in some perimeter firepower from Eastern Carolina with senior forward Jaden Gardner, who was the number 2 scorer in the American last season and first in 3-point shooting. Also acquired via transfer is a guard from Indiana and this is Armin Franklin, who is the number 2 scorer last season for the Hoosiers, and he led Indiana in perimeter shooting, knocking down over 42% of his three-point shots. The big question, though, for Virginia entering this season comes at the 5 spot. And that's where the center position has question marks how Virginia will replace 7'1" center Jay Huff. The Cavaliers don't really have much experience down low with bigs in the roster. That 5 spot comes up to sophomore Caden Shedrick and senior Francisco Cafaro. I've got the Cavaliers at number 35. Now at number 34, we'll stay in the ACC. This is the Syracuse Orange. I've got here entering Jim Boeheim's 46th season as head coach. And he will coach not one, but 2 of his sons for this upcoming season. Jimmy Boeheim, who averaged over 16 points per game during the 2019-2020 season at Cornell, will team up with his brother, Buddy Boeheim, in the backcourt. The guard play and the scoring of Syracuse, this will be the strength this season. As Buddy Boeheim is coming off a spectacular NCAA tournament, where he was averaging around 25 points per game in the last 5 games of the season while shooting 48% from three-point range during that stretch in the tournament. A couple big offseason losses, though. Number 2 scorer Quincy Guerrier transferred to Oregon. Alan Griffin, Marek Dolajai left the team in the offseason. But back for Syracuse, another perimeter threat here. Junior guard Joe Girard, who made over 41% of his three-point shots in the NCAA tournament. He is back. Center Barama Sadide from Mali Sidibe is back as well after playing just 2 games last season due to injury. He did, however, start all 32 games during the season prior and made 69% of his shots inside. A key piece that Syracuse adds off the bench from Villanova last season is Cole Swider, who comes to upstate New York to play for Syracuse now. And then also new to Syracuse, they're going to have a freshman here, 4-star small forward Benny Williams, who comes in from IMG Academy. 46th season upcoming for Jim Boeheim as head coach. I've got the Orange inside the top 45 at number 34. Now at number 33, we'll stay on the East Coast once again, except we'll take a step in the Big East, the sleeper team of mine this season that did not make the tournament last season, that I expect to for this season. That is the St. John's Red Storm. They went 9-4 in their last 13 games last season, and there's multiple players that happened to depart in the offseason, but head coach Mike Anderson acquiring some solid transfer pickups this offseason. St. John's had their number 3 through 7 scorers depart in the offseason, but their top 2 scorers are back, which include junior shooting guard Julian Champagny, another player here who should be able to be Big East all-first team for this upcoming season. He was a first-team selection last season, with him and Gillespie, the only 2 first-teamers coming back from the conference, averaging just under 20 points per game and over 7 rebounds per game for Champagny. Second-year point guard Posh Alexander. He is coming off a terrific freshman season, averaging over 10 points per game, over 4 assists per game, and tied for 6th nationally in steals per game. He is back for St. John's as well. And then here come the key transfers. Seniors coming in with guard Montez Mathis, who started 13 games last season at Rutgers. Also a player coming in for Vermont from Steph Smith, who averaged over 13 points per game for the Catamounts last season. And also from Purdue, Aaron Wheeler, looking for an increased impact on the court at St. John's. And to help out the front court, the Red Storm landing a junior forward from Fordham. That is Joel Soriano, who nearly averaged a double-double last season at Fordham. Now at number 32 on the list, we'll go back to the ACC, and this is where I have another team I see that could be a sleeper. This is the Louisville Cardinals. This team right here I see making improvements this upcoming season. They had an extremely young roster last season. Most of the roster was either freshman or sophomore for Louisville, and with one season at least underneath their belt, the Cards should be able to make things interesting here at the ACC. They did lose their top 2 players in the offseason, guards Carly Jones, David Johnson, but the trio of Louisville's 3, 4, and 5 scorers, they'll return with for Jalen Withers. He is coming off a terrific freshman season, averaging over 10 points per game and almost 8 rebounds per game. Samuel Williamson, he is an excellent rebounder. He has potential to break out offensively this season going into his 3rd year. And also guard Dre Davis. He showed flashes of scoring potential last season. He is back as well. Senior center Malik Williams also back for his 5th season after playing just 3 games late in the season due to injury. Head coach Chris Mack acquiring 2 solid transfers in the backcourt to replace Jones and Johnson. The first transfer, Senior shooting guard from Florida, Noah Locke, who averaged over 10 points per game during the past 2 seasons for the Gators. He should be able to give the Cards a spark from the perimeter. And also, another key transfer, the top one at the junior college level, point guard L. Ellis. The top prospect at the junior college level from Tallahassee Community College going to Louisville. And that's where I got the Cards here at number 32 on the list back in the NCAA tournament. Now at number 31, back to the Big East, here we go. And this is where I have the UConn Huskies. I have them lowered in their AP ranking at number 24. And the reason why is because replacing the production of James Bouknight. That is a massive hit to the offense right there. The offense is going to be a work in progress this season at UConn. And a lot of question marks on the offensive side of the basketball. They have a really solid defense. They're the top-rated defense last season in the Big East. For the most part, though, besides Bouknight, everybody else returns besides a couple losses with their bench players. The Huskies returning 4 starters, senior guards R.J. Cole and Tyrese Martin, both back. Both averaged double figures last season. Also back for the Huskies, forward Isaiah Whaley. Sophomore forward Adama Sanogo. He showed tremendous improvement towards the end of last season. And also back for UConn to have a greater impact this season is junior forward Cook. He missed the majority of last season, recovering from an injury back in 2020. UConn's primary players, though, mostly upperclassmen, 4 seniors, 2 juniors in the lineup. Head coach Dan Hurley adding in 3 top 100 recruits, guards Jonathan Hawkins, Rachel Diggins, and also forward Samson Johnson. Now at number 30, a team that I'm also not as high on for this upcoming season, that ranked in the top 25. They were listed in the AP poll preseason at number 20. I've got them at number 30, and that is the Florida State Seminoles. So they lost a ton in the offseason. And in my opinion, I don't expect them to be as consistent of a top 25 team that they have been the past couple of seasons. The Seminoles, though, they thrive on depth. That's what Leonard Hamilton, head coach, thrives upon, developing players. Florida State did lose 4 of their starters, though, which included their top 3 scorers. MJ Walker, Raekwon Gray, Scotty Barnes went to the NBA, and 1 starter remains that will return with senior guard Anthony Polite, who averaged over 10 points per game last season. The Seminoles did get a solid transfer pickup last season with guard Caleb Mills, who transferred over to Houston. And also returning in the front court, that will be senior forward Malik Osborne. But here's the thing that's missing, I feel like, for Florida State. They don't have that top 10 type of recruit like they did the past 2 seasons with Patrick Williams and Scotty Barnes. The Seminoles do happen to bring in, though, a top 25 recruit with small forward Matthew Cleveland. They also bring in a top 45 recruit with Jalen Worley. And also the Seminoles don't have much experience in the front court either. 7'1" center Tanner Engom. He's mostly going to get the starting nod at the center position. But also they acquired via transfer another key player here who can help out Florida State for this upcoming season. That's at small forward. That is Cameron Fletcher, who is looking to turn things around. He only played 9 games last season, a top 100 recruit in the class of 2020 who went to Kentucky, but only played 9 games last season for Kentucky, looking to turn things around for Florida State. But a lot of offseason departures here for the Seminoles. That's why I have them lower at number 30. Now at number 29 in the list, this is where I have the Texas Tech Red Raiders. A lot of offseason moves with this team. They have players departing, incoming transfers heading in. They don't have their head coach anymore. Chris Beard went to Texas at his alma mater for the head coaching job, replacing Shaka Smart. Mark Adams taking over as the new head coach at Texas Tech after spending the last 5 seasons as the assistant coach. Some key losses in the offseason. Mac McClung, their top scorer, also Kyler Edwards. Texas Tech will bring back guards Terrence Shannon and Kevin McCullough. Both of these players averaged double figures last season. Also bringing back their forward Marcus Santos Silva for his final season. And then they got some key transfers coming in. Sadar Calhoun, a senior, coming over from Florida State. He was a bench player last season for the Seminoles. Senior forward Kevin O'Banner from Oral Roberts. This is a big name right here. He was massive in the NCAA tournament. He had 30 points against Ohio State in the tournament. He was a 46% three-point shooter at Oral Roberts. And I think he's going to have a big-time role here for Texas Tech for this upcoming season. Big transfer right there with O'Banner. And then also senior forward Bryson Williams, who averaged over 15 points per game at UTEP. So some good key transfers coming in for Texas Tech under a new head coach, and I've got them at number 29 on my list. Now at number 28, this is where I have Sparty Green, Michigan State head coach Tom Izzo. Couple key offseason departures, 3 of his starters, Aaron Henry, Joshua Langford, Rocket Watts via transfer to Mississippi State. But the offense, I think it's going to be significantly better this upcoming season. They ranked 13th in the Big Ten this season, though. Should be improved. Joey Hauser, number 2 scorer last season, he is back. And then, for Hauser here, he will return. So he is back. And then also coming back will be Gabe Brown and Malik Hall. They should get some more opportunities to improve. And then the big key here for Michigan State this season is that their backcourt should be better. Replacing Cassius Winston last season, that was a massive struggle. And this season, they got a solid transfer pickup from Northeastern junior point guard Tyson Walker, who averaged over 18 points per game, over 2 steals per game. It was named to the all-conference first team in the Colonial last season. Was named the Colonial Defensive Player of the Year. That is a big pickup right there with Tyson Walker coming along to Michigan State. Also, Tom Izzo adding in another quality recruit, 5-star freshman shooting guard Max Christie. He should be able to start from day number 1 for Sparty. Also, Michigan State having 8 top 100 recruits on the roster coming out from high school during their time. And this team here, they should be significantly better than what they were last season, like they were in the bubble conversation for basically the majority of last season. I've got Michigan State just outside the top 25 at number 28. Now at 27, coming off an Elite 8 tournament appearance, this is the USC Trojans, who I have at 27. In USC last season, their tournament run, it was fueled by not only the Mobley brothers, but other players in the lineup that stepped up offensively. Younger brother Evan Mobley, he won't be back as he was picked up number 3 overall by the Cavs in the NBA draft, but older brother Isaiah Mobley, he is back for the Trojans. He should be the main star of this team during his junior season. Other than Evan Mobley, head coach Andy Enfield, he only loses one other key player with number 2 scorer point guard Taj Edey. USC has an upperclassman roster, 5 juniors, 3 seniors in the roster. Joining Isaiah Mobley in the front court should be forward Chavez Goodwin. He was the leading rebounder 2 seasons ago at Wofford. Back as starters for the Trojans, as these players have length out on the perimeter defending the outside. That is 6'7" and 6'8" guards with Isaiah White and Drew Peterson going to give some teams some difficulty on the perimeter. Junior guard Ethan Anderson also will be back for USC. Looks to take another step up offensively and place a Taj Edey at the point guard position. And then the Trojans adding in a quality transfer. Shooting guard Boogie Ellis coming over from Memphis. He started 42 games over the course of 2 seasons for the Tigers. Last year, head coach Andy Enfield, he had a tremendous success with 3 transfers who played a crucial role in guiding USC to the Elite 8. He gets a solid transfer here with Ellis. I have him just outside the top 25 at number 27. And now for the final team of this ranking from 45 to 26. And that happens to be one of the teams that won in the offseason via transfer. Ben Holland and the Mississippi State Bulldogs. Big winners right here. The Bulldogs do happen to have a huge loss in the offseason. DJ Stewart, their leading scorer, left for the NBA. But coming into Mississippi State will be Michigan State transfer Rocket Watts. He is coming off a disappointing season, but looking for the chance here to break out and a new change of scenery here for Mississippi State. Also, the biggest offseason transfer name to know, a steal here in the offseason, acquiring 6'10" forward Garrison Brooks from North Carolina. A 4-year starter for the Tar Heels. Brooks brings experience, leadership on the court for Mississippi State, as he averaged over 16 points per game and over 8 rebounds per game 2 seasons ago for the Tar Heels. The Bulldogs also getting a third key transfer coming in. DJ Jeffries, a forward from Memphis, who started 24 games through 2 seasons for the Tigers. Back for Mississippi State, returning will be guard Iverson Molinar, coming off a season where he averaged over 16 points per game as a sophomore, shooting over 43% from three-point range. Also back in the front court will be junior forward Tolu Smith. And the Bulldogs, they have 3 solid front court players here with Brooks, Smith, and Jeffries. It's going to make their interior even tougher for this season coming up for Mississippi State. I've got them at number 26, a potential sleeper team to watch out for this season. So that's a wrap here to my video on my college basketball preseason predictions for teams number 45 through number 26. Also, be sure to check out my second video with teams number 25 through number 1. That video link is posted down in the description below. Also, be sure to like, share, comment, and subscribe to my channel if you enjoyed this rankings video. Thanks so much for watching, everybody, as this is Behind the Arc Basketball.